So now I get to introduce our speaker, and our speaker is going to be on Zoom. So this is really interesting, right? So it's going to be a lot of fun here. And so our speaker today is Stanley Edward Mazikiak. Did I say it right? I don't know. I'm so excited. And Stanley, I get to, he's our actual president of our board, so it's so fun to have him. But here is his bio. He is a transpersonal coach, metaphysical practitioner, diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI professional, and performer at heart. Passionate about facilitating individual soul level alignment and expansion as part of larger community healing. His long journey out of the Christian fundamental, y'all use these big words, fundamental, whatever, thank you, of life, gender, sexuality, spirituality, nonconformance, and metaphysical principles. Stanley is also a U.S. Army combat veteran, I believe retired at this point. Yeah, he currently serves as a retired military equal opportunity advisor within the Army Reserve, where he had trained and advised commanders, leaders, and soldiers on issues pertaining to organizational climate, positive leadership, inclusion, harassment, and discrimination. Don't you think that makes him a nice president for our board?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
I think he's testing his abilities with our board. And in his military career has spanned more than 20 years in 5 countries, with additional assignments as a military police soldier, broadcast journalist, radio host, and public affairs trainer. Stanley enjoys speaking, teaching, facilitating individual and group meditations and other alignment practices, especially in his unofficial capacities like this one, where everything he says and everything he shares is his own words and not representative of the government or any of his other employees or affiliations. So please join me in welcoming Stanley. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend.
You can correct your last name for me.
Thank you, Reverend Jenny, for that. It's actually, so in the US, we pronounce it Mazak, but there's a couple of Z's and a C in the middle. So in Poland, it's a Polish origin, you pronounce it Mazchuk. So, but that's a whole other topic. But thank you, Reverend Jenny, for the introduction. My commitment to you all by the next time I speak is that I'll have a bio that's 3 or 4 sentences and no more. So what I want to do today, it's been my honor to serve on the board the last couple of months, and to really, for myself and helping other folks on the board and folks in the chapel, just really understand really the roots of who we are as a chapel. The last couple of times I've spoken, I've gone through some of the guiding documents of the chapel, and today I'm going to read our expression and talk a little bit about that. So this is something that before I joined the board, I didn't know that this was something that we had in existence in writing. And I think there might be some other people in that boat as well. So I'm going to read it for us. So before, in other messages, I've talked about our purpose and our principles. And today we're going to talk about the Metaphysical Chapel of Life expression. I'm going to read that to you first, because this statement of our expression will preach in and of itself. So my hat's off to Reverend Bill and the other folks who brought this into fruition. At the chapel, one of our main goals is the raising up of light bearers and the edification of the light of God in each person. A light bearer is someone who acknowledges the existence of God in their heart and who chooses to live and act from that point of contact. This is not an easy task, because it is hard to move the ego self out of the way and to let the God part of us act and be part of our lives. Our emphasis is on God, not on phenomena. And our message is that God resides in every individual, not out there somewhere in the sky. That the goal of humanity is to acknowledge the internal higher power that propels us through life and to consciously choose to allow that higher power to work through us. The Metaphysical Chapel of Life has no basis in nor subscribes to any dogma. We strive to operate from the point of universal Christ consciousness, and we accept people as we find them. We don't seek to change anyone. People come to the chapel because they are free thinkers. They are questioners, and they want to hear a different message than the one heard for generations and generations like a broken record. Something inside of them has said, wake up, there is more to life than this. And so they find their way here. The chapel differs from other churches in that there is no one speaker. Different voices are heard each Sunday. The chapel provides an opportunity for people to share their light, not merely an opportunity for the congregation to sit passively and listen to what only one person has to say. Our board of ministers confers over the spiritual aspects of the chapel, and the board of directors manages the business aspects of the chapel. All decisions are made by consensus, and our belief is that we are all mirrors of each other. We cannot hide from each other and truly discover ourselves. Membership in our chapel does not require renouncement of any other affiliation, only a choice to serve the God in yourself, so that you may then prepare yourself to serve the God in others. We extend our hands in grateful service, and we salute the light in all. This is our expression. I'm going to give that a hand in and of itself. Just in the chapel, give it a hand. That is a beautiful statement of who we are as a chapel. This statement of expression for me, and reflecting on it over the last couple of weeks, and especially this morning, has come to mean a few different things too. There's so much great stuff here that it starts off talking about each of us being light bearers and helping us reflect that light in each other. But at the core of this statement of expression, we find really the arc of who we are and where we're going and what we're doing in the world. And this serves as a place for us to come back to and have a touch point. Anytime we have to make a decision or decide what we're going to do, what we're going to be about, what we're going to be presenting as chapel members, as the board, as who we are in our community, we can come back to these guiding documents like this expression and saying, is this aligned with who we are? Is this helping take ourselves deeper and take other people deeper through this lens of who we are, how we express ourselves as the Metaphysical Chapel of Life? You'll see just coming through every word of this is this core understanding of light, but also love, that we are love. In our nature, at a core level, we are love, and we are sharing that love and light with the world. That doesn't mean that everything we see in the world is always going to be love and light. We know that, right? To say otherwise would be bypassing. So we understand that while we can see things that are not exuding that love and light in the world, we can choose to bring our love and light to it and amplify that in the way that it is then expressed in the world. When we start to think about ways forward, and the board and the board of directors and ministers have been talking a lot about kind of mission and vision and where we're going and all the things that we're currently doing and how those things are going to continue to be done and continue to evolve. We come back to these documents and remember who we are and where we are going and what we want to be. As we look forward through this, it's been important to me, especially to hone in on a couple of things. One, that the people that come to the chapel, and I'm looking around the room, very tiny square on my screen, and all the folks on Zoom too, our expression says that the people who come to the chapel are free thinkers. They want to hear a different message than the one heard for generations and generations like a broken record. Can anybody else attest to that? I know I can. Yes, absolutely. So we're so grateful that we have this chapel to come to and to think through those lenses of metaphysical principles, of the Kabbalion, of all those things that we tap into as we look at our lineage of metaphysical ministers, of metaphysicians throughout history from different religions, the mystics of all these different religions and what they've brought and spoken into our world and truth to meet the needs that we have each day. So at the chapel, we're committed to bringing that specific message of metaphysical principles and how we infuse that into the day-to-day actions of our world. Because I think, hopefully, we could all agree that our world needs some work. There's a lot of things that need our love and light and our insight and can help us each for me, I see this as a two-pronged thing, right? On the one hand, we can use our metaphysical principles to develop ourselves. And our expression talks about that, right? We go inward, we find the God and the love and light within ourselves. It's not somewhere out there. I find it in myself. I connect with that, and I allow that to transmute and shift the energy inside of my body and everything that I'm being, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and allow that to manifest in my life in new and different ways because I'm tapped into that source. So as I do that in myself, I can say I am able to transcend any external restrictions that might be around me. There's possibility for that when I'm allowing myself to tap into that source level consciousness and connection, right? And at the same time, there are systems and structures and injustices in our world that need transforming too. Systems and structures and injustices that disproportionately negatively impact different groups of people, right? So we speak life and truth into ourselves as we connect with that source power, and then that further enables us to speak life and love and truth into those systems that need that shifting and that transformation in our world today. So there's two things that are happening at the same time, and they are both limitless with possibility, but we have to make sure that we're getting ourselves back to that space of connection and coming into that space of personal leadership in my own life. And it doesn't mean that I have to do one or the other. None of this is ever a binary choice. I can be connecting in and working in and through my own life while I'm also simultaneously making a positive impact in the lives of the people around me and contributing. If I decide to go in, and I've done this before, if I decide to go in and hermit myself because I need to work on me and I need to fix all of my stuff before I help other people, I'm never going to get out. I'm going to be stuck in my prayer closet, in my meditation mat for the rest of my life, because there's always deepening to do. There's always expansion for myself, right? But I have to pair these things of self-development and growth and serving the community around me. Self-development and growth, making sure that I'm becoming all that I want to become and that I was meant to become, that source has for me to become, that my soul has for me to become, while I'm also engaging with the people and the community and the systems and the lives and the structures and the things around me. There's this amalgamation of both of these things happening at the same time and at separate times and all the time and none of the time. It's this beautiful paradox of life, right? And it's different for each of us. We're each wired to do this in different ways, but we'll never understand that if we don't allow ourselves to have the support structures in our lives to facilitate whatever my unique way is of connecting in and allowing myself to tap into that universal Christ consciousness and allowing that to touch and heal my life in meaningful ways. And a lot of the times what can inform how I do that is taking a look at what's happened in the last few days, what's happened in the last week in my own life. Just as the expression talks about us all being mirrors for each other, our engagement with people and how people respond to us and how we see people respond to us or how we perceive people responding to us is often a mirror for what's going on in our own lives internally, asking for connection, asking for shifts, asking for engagement in some way. Right? There's so many messages available in all of the things going on in our lives, whether it's people we bump into on the street, things we happen to see on TV or YouTube, or things that come on the radio that might be messages, source, spirit trying to get our attention. All of this is great information. But I know for me, if I don't have that daily touch point of, okay, I know for this period of time, I'm going to be sitting in meditation, or I'm going to be sitting with my ancestors. I'm going to be sitting with my journal and writing some things out and reflecting and allowing that information to come through me, then I may never actually get the messages. I may never actually see it. So for me, I know that personally, as I create these structures in my day-to-day life that support me in reflecting on and engaging with my community around me and kind of pairing it together with what's going on in my life, that gives me a really clear picture of where my life is heading. And from there, I get to take a inventory. I get to make some choices about whether it's going in the direction I want it to go, or whether there's things that I want to change up a little bit. And for us as a chapel community too, I find that going back and reflecting on these guiding documents and reflecting on all the accomplishments that we've done as a community and really appreciating that is really key to making sure that we have a good and full picture of where we are and where we're going. Because I don't know about y'all, but sometimes for me, there might be a lot of, especially if I spend any time, spend some time watching the news and seeing all the things going on in the world, sometimes that stuff can be overwhelming in a negative way. And so if I don't consciously make the choice and choose to balance it out and choose to focus on that moment of appreciation and connection with source and connection with light and universal Christ consciousness, and making sure that I'm amplifying the things that I want to amplify consciously, and allowing the other stuff to fall away or direct that energy there for that specific purpose, then I'm going to be a little bit off kilter. So I wanted to really just kind of bring this up and talk about it today, and really focus in on one of our main goals at the chapel is the raising up of light bearers and the edification of the light of God in each person. So I hope this has been encouraging for you today. And I think if it's not up there already, I'll make sure that this is up on the website somewhere for us to be able to read and reflect on. Because for me, again, going back to these guiding documents has been really helpful for me to deepen into who we are as a community and where we're going. And as Reverend Jenny said during the announcements too, we're always looking for people's feedback. So I really encourage you to use those links online to share with us your thoughts on this. Share with us what the chapel has meant to you. Share with us where you think the chapel's going. As members of our community, you are why we're here. The people in that room in the chapel, the people on Zoom, the people around the chapel in the local community, the people who pop in from time to time whenever they feel aligned with that. You are the community, and you are the reason we're here. So as we're deepening into that, I personally ask for your feedback and ask for your support in helping us deepen into the ways that are working really well for how we do this and how we connect in and serve the people around us, and any insight that all of you have and how we do that and how we want to do that moving forward, because all of your voices are so valuable. All of your input is so valuable. And we do read everything that comes in. So I hope this is encouraging for you today, and I'm going to leave that with you right here.